Welcome to the Trending XR podcast, where we discuss the latest in augmented reality, virtual reality, and AI with industry leaders who are shaping the future of how we will work, socialize, and go about our daily lives in the third dimension. In the not-so-distant future, we won't even be using phones. We'll be using these. I know, sounds crazy, but we have never been closer to this future concept becoming our current reality. I am so excited to share this new world with you. I hope to teach you, inspire you, and ignite your passion for extended reality. It's time to change dimensions. Are you coming? Welcome back to the Trending XR podcast. Today's guest is the co-founder of Gracia AI. Gracia is a leader in creating photorealistic, volumetric videos for extended reality, leveraging Gaussian splatting technology. Now, we have talked about Gaussian splatting in previous episodes, but what we haven't talked about is how to use 4D Gaussian splatting with volumetric sports and the film industry. Our guest was also on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list and was the former founder of NetMoney, a QR code-based tip platform that boasted 3.5 million monthly active users in its prime and sold to the biggest bank in Russia. Georgii Vysotskii, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is going to be a great one, man. So we're dumping back into some previous conversations on radiance fields or Gaussian splats, which we had, I think the first 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes, we had some people patterned in who were some experts in the space. So it's been about 6 months, and I really was looking forward to this to get back into talking about the new advancements in the space since that time, because there's been some pretty cool stuff that's popped up in the radiance field space since then. I love to start off like every podcast with having the person kind of just loosely introduce themselves and kind of give us the maybe like your one moment that sparked your journey into the XR and radiance field technology space.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Basically, I think there was one moment when we actually decided to launch this project. We are second-time founders with my partner, and before that, we've built together back in the days in Russia, where we are originally from. We built a fintech project quite successfully. We were acquired, and we were thinking of what to do next. We knew that we wanted to build it together. We were already in Kazakhstan, and I have almost convinced him to launch a furniture rental service in Dubai, in United Emirates. But at the very last moment, when I already found investors, found a way to structure it, etc., he came up with a demo based on Gaussian splats of the first 1 second long volumetric video in VR, running real time on a PCVR headset back in the days. And he just invited me to check it out. And once I saw it, we completely gave up on my previous idea to launch furniture rental service, and we decided to go into it and double down on it, simply because it was something completely new I haven't seen before. I could walk around this guy who was fighting, and it was just super impressive. And of course, I tried VR before that, like playing video games during the parties and myself sometimes. But this was the spark moment for me that like this is the future of content for XR, because it is now photorealistic and 3D at the same time. And the more I'm working on this project, the more I become convinced that we are on a very right track, and that's exactly what XR needs in terms of the technologies to finally match this gap between the device capability and the technological capabilities for content production.
Yeah, thank you for looping us in on that start. And I think that wasn't your first, like you said, this was your second venture with this partner, which was predated by, was it NetMont?
Yeah. It's pronounced NetMoney, but like no worries at all. This E, everyone struggles with it. Like originally, I got used to the name Yegor, which is a shorter version of my name, but people just struggle to pronounce it correctly. So I switched back to my long form of my name, which is Georgii. So Yeah, we are friends with my partner and my CTO. We are friends since sixth grade at school, so we know each other for 18 years now. We're best friends
Okay.
since then, and we lived together, sharing the flat after the uni. I was working at McKinsey, and my partner was working at Prisma, which was they were pioneering AI on-device machine learning back in the days in 2016. So they are like really pioneers because they managed to run AI models on device before PyTorch existed. So really like veterans of the field. So and I was working at McKinsey, and I spent much time in restaurants, and I like lack of cash to pay tips. And in Russia, back in the days, there was no infrastructure to pay tips anyway, except cash. So one evening, I just came up with an idea. We should probably try to fix it. And it was our pet project. We didn't plan at all to leave our jobs, because I like the first financial model I built was like showing that you barely can break even. So it was not about the money. It was about like trying to build something together.
Hmm.
Because we were exchanging ideas, like we were 22 years old. So like you're looking for something new, even if you have a career. And we launched it as a pet project, and eventually it became quite a big company. In 2 years after the launch, we were acquired quite early, to be honest. That's why now our exit is not that big. So we are not retired after this, and need to build another one. Uh,
Was that pretty
and
big during COVID? The QR business?
Eh, We almost got killed by COVID because our major user base was restaurants and beauty salons. All of them were shut down
Right.
during the COVID. So we had zero revenue during the COVID, but we launched before the COVID. COVID pandemic almost killed us, but we survived because we found another way to hustle some money, because we already have waiters in our system, and we were kind of an HR agency helping them to find some extra work during the COVID pandemic to earn some money. We got paid for every person got employed, right? So we really were like pivoted to HR agency during the pandemic. But after the COVID pandemic, it just started to grow exponentially because people got used to QR codes, because QR codes, at least in Russia, were used to track people access to the streets, etc. Second one,
Okay.
everyone got used to Apple Pay, Google Pay,
Yeah.
and people started to be kind of afraid of cash, because cash is obviously transfers the infection.
Yeah.
So
Same with
all three
menus. And
factors, yeah, all three factors together kind of provided the exponential growth. And in 9 months, we grew 20 times. Became the biggest player in the market, even though we were the second one who launched. We didn't copy anyone, but like we had no first mover advantage. But like since we operationally managed to support and like absorb this exponential growth, we became the biggest player. We were acquired, and like we had 2 years of a lockup period. And when we left, it was already like 160 people in the team. So profitable company, over 1 million monthly revenue, $1 million monthly revenue. So like if it was in Europe or US, I could retire with such an exit, but multiples are in Russia are much lower.
those
So
dang
at least
Russian
I have
banks, huh?
something. Yeah. At least I have something in my portfolio, and it helped. It helped a bit, not a lot. It helped a bit raising the round for Gracia that we are building now, for sure, because it's like experience. Even though it's on another market, you still have some experience, like growing the company from 0 to 160 people.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing to maybe ask you about, because I've had a couple business owners on, but we haven't dove into what it's like to go from someone who's never had employees. And I don't know if you had employees prior to this with anything else, but going from that to owning a company with 160 employees, and what that's like to, build out the infrastructure of a business, as someone who's never done that before. I guess it'd be kind of cool to hear your perspective on that, especially since that's kind of like the precursor to your new tech adventure.
Yeah. Basically, I had no experience managing people, and I was struggling with it. and had to keep up with it and get some advices from founders, investors, and other people around me. I was really struggling with it. For example, I couldn't fire people at all. I couldn't interview them properly because I had no experience in it. But my McKinsey background, because in my I spent 3 years at McKinsey, so I had some. I would say I worked with many big companies, so I knew at least what kind of organizational structure you can have, like how does the company work overall, what branches do you have in a company, etc. So at least it gave me some some perspective on what are the functions we need, how do they communicate with each other, etc. So, but yeah, the biggest struggle was how to hire people, manage them, etc. And eventually, I just kept up with it, I think. And I do not consider myself as a really good manager, but simply because when you're a founder and manager, it's a bit two different things, to be honest, at least for me.
Sure.
So I'm probably not the best CEO, but as a founder, I hope I can inspire people and make sure that the culture and the vibe is in the company, and this hustle vibe of startup is there.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't think anyone's really prepared to just get thrown into like having to figure out, unless you're like a business, went to business school and you're like, yeah, I'm ready, this is my thing. But I think a lot of people out there are like builders like you who have ideas, and they get tossed into the fire, and I'm sure you learned a ton, and that's going to be something that you transfer over to this next venture that you guys have going, which I'd love to hear more about now. If you'd like to talk about maybe this like start of this business, Gracia AI, and
Yeah.
where you guys are at in your timeline now, and then where you think about or where you see taking the business here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So we launched Gracia over 2 years ago now, and we formed the core team from the guys we used to work with. So Andrei, my partner, brought people from Prisma, and they joined us. Head of R&D and head of engineering of Prisma joined us in this project. I invited many people, like a few people, core people from the previous project, NetManet, to join us, like head of design, head of product, etc. And it helped us a lot because we since day one, since day zero, we formed like a group, like a team of 8, 9 people we worked with and we know. We raised our first round 1.5 years ago. So in the very first days, we were just paying for covering the cost ourselves. And just now, actually this week, we are closing our second funding round, which is not a big one, but it helps us to extend the runway and extend the team to grow further. We managed during these 2 years, first we became the first one who made it possible to render 3DGS in VR, PCVR first and later standalone headsets starting from Quest 3. It was basically the first what we launched Gracia like end of 2023. We launched Gracia as a viewer platform, community platform, so you can upload your 3DGS scans and share them with the community. But since day zero, we knew that we are working on volumetric videos, so we were iterating inside internally on the videos. And I think the first video we released around 1 year ago, and it was and again, our strategy, we are not content producers, right? At Gracia, we are a technological provider for professional creators who produce content for XR and beyond. Originally, we were focused only on XR. So we work with due to NDA restrictions, I couldn't name the companies, unfortunately, but we work with big companies in this segment, helping them to produce this new type of content, 4DGS based volumetric videos for XR. And in XR, you have 2 segments we are focusing on, which is entertainment and education. Entertainment, it's like music and shows, fashion, and sports, on the education side, basically where celebrities are involved. I think it helps you to drive audience to your platform. Again, we are like helping, we provide like the technology behind production and distribution, so rendering of these volumetric videos in third-party applications. On the education side, you obviously have medical education. And for example, tomorrow, I'm based in London. Tomorrow we have a shooting here for one of the universities here, a soldering masterclass. Imagine you are soldering the microscheme, and the size of the subjects is like millimeters long. So you need to reconstruct it so that students can wear a headset and look and pick up the technique of soldering, simply because the one teacher cannot like show it to 150 people, not enough space, right? And not enough teachers to show everyone. So they decided to switch from 2D kind of guidelines. Yeah, from 2D screens towards Gaussian splatting based videos in VR. So the student can walk around, right? So this is a great example of educational. And also on the education side, I think there is a very important segment that I pitch to everyone is learning of complex techniques of your body movement, like fitness, like FitXR, Supernatural, yoga, and stuff. But and there are existing products for it, but there is a segment, martial arts masterclasses, which is quite popular in 2D. And there is existing industry of 2D masterclasses, like hundreds of millions of dollars a year. But which for me doesn't make much sense, because like the whole body is involved in a particular kick and you cannot absorb it in 2D. That's why you go to a gym and you train like on your kind of just because your brain works. The first step of your learning is you just like, it's called observational learning, when you watch someone doing some complex techniques, and it's much easier for you after it to repeat it. So I believe that in VR, it's a huge opportunity, and we are now looking for partners because we have the whole tech ready. We are looking for partners to build a product around it. Specifically for masterclasses for martial arts.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think this might be a good point, because I have a mix of viewers. Some people are technically savvy, some aren't. So I think this is a good point to like maybe try to explain what 4DGS is. I can give it my best crack, and I'm still learning about these things. But maybe it's good to come from me in layman's terms, because I am the layman. I'm still figuring it out. So from my understanding, 4DGS starts with doing a volumetric scan, right? So you're in a facility, like a studio, and it's got the lighting rig and loads of cameras all around you, make 300 cameras or so, all pointing towards the center of that, round stage, if you would. And all these cameras are taking an image every so many seconds. And this is all getting stitched together in post, so that you can look at this from any viewing angle that you wish at any point during that movement of that video. So you kind of have the capacity for infinite views, if you would, around that subject. Whereas, prior, you would have only had that one. So this is useful in many ways. Like you said, be kind of cool as like a boxing training or martial arts training if you were like in VR, and like these were like pre-recorded and you could like actually move and learn from actually physically doing it. That's where I think people learn the best and retain the most information. There's also the movie industry, which is where I come from. I did logistics for big like Marvel, Paramount, Netflix, Apple. But I got exposed to how they do a lot of this back-end stuff for VFX. Being on stage, I got to see they kind of had their own scanning unit, like a volumetric scanner, or was a volumetric scanner called Scanny DeVito, I think they called it. But it was like this toe behind little box, and they would just drop it right by the set, and they would scan actors every day. So they had continuity to go off of, and they could use this in post. So this is like really, really cool for the movie industry for many applications. For post shooting, you could probably enlighten us on some other really cool ideas or ways that they're going to use this tech. But I think that's like generally the scope of how 4DGS is, and feel free to correct me on anything I said that was wrong.
Yeah, everything was absolutely right. And you also
cool.
touched the movie industry, which in my structure lies separately as VFX industry, VFX filmmaking, And we started and originally we were XR focused, but now we started to work with movie industries as well. The only important thing to mention is it's much easier that you explained, because now you don't need 300 cameras, 40 cameras is more than enough. Second, you can do shootings in Volumetric Studio, but also Volumetric Studios can come to you. And like last week, when we record this podcast last week, it was super important announcement from Apple, where they, for iPhone 17, they enabled Genlock using Blackmagic trigger boxes. Effectively, it means that now you can hire 15 iPhone 17s and boxes to trigger them together, put them yourself, a semi-professional creator, not you don't need to have Hollywood background, capture the video, process it with us, and get your own volumetric video ready to use with so minimum amount of money put into content production, because the only cost is to hire or find your 15 friends, wealthy friends with iPhone 17.
Interesting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I haven't heard about that, so we'll go back to that. I'll make a note.
Yeah. So it's already much cheaper and easier than you imagine to capture it. So you can capture it in a studio. Studio can bring those cameras on site, on set, or on in the gym if you capture martial arts master classes, right? And capture it on site. We only need to obtain this synchronized footage from the cameras, as you mentioned. We just upload them to the cloud. We process it. It's fully automated there. We have a separate internal MVP level of Gracia Studio toolkit that we use to clean up the video, basically basic video editing toolkit, because it's not a video, it's a sequence of AI models trained in a proper way to make sure that these AI models, when rendered on device, can reconstruct the video back from any viewpoint inside of it. And why the whole magic happens in VR, because your eyes have two different points in space. So you render two different pictures, you get this parallax effect, and as a result, you get this level of immersiveness, this sense of presence, like you're actually in the video. The closest comparison would be Harry Potter pensieve, when he was diving into this pensieve, being a part of someone's memory that has actually happened. He was spectacular inside of it, so he couldn't interact with it, but he was able to walk around someone's memory. That's exactly what we do, right? We capture the reality as it is, reconstruct it to 3D, so-called 3D, extremely lifelike, like you couldn't imagine lifelike. And you have full viewpoint freedom inside of it. In XR, you can walk around it and absorb it and feeling this is a real person with you in your room, because you obviously mixed reality mode is the most popular how people use it. And for VFX, you have full flexibility, full freedom on post-production. You can create crazy fly-throughs. For example, if Matrix bullet time was captured today, it would cost, I think, 100 times less, because you only need Keanu Reeves to make this kind of move. You capture it from all the angles simultaneously with 40 cameras, right? 40 cameras. And you later on post-production create any viewpoint fly-through. So we are not actually stitching the images from the cameras together. We are based on these limited viewpoint freedoms. We train a sequence of AI models that kind of remembers how the light behaves in a scene and can now render the video back from any viewpoint. You had 40 viewpoint, now you have infinite amount of viewpoints. So yeah, it's much easier and much and with Apple releases and with further kind of improvements of how you can capture it, it gets much more affordable.
And that's a huge thing to say in regard to the film industry, because they're always looking for cheaper ways to do things at the same level of fidelity, if you would. But you sparked a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of questions for you. Tailing back to the iPhone thing, I didn't know. So Apple has this a new, what is it? It's like a software or something that you can tap into with multiple iPhones.
They just announced iPhone 17, and they enabled for iPhone 17 the feature that you can trigger the camera to start recording using Genlock box. This
Is this a
Genlock is basically the box that sends signals simultaneously with zero delay to all the devices to capture together.
Is a physical box or
is a physical box? Yeah, it's a physical box.
Do you rent it and they send it to you, or do you have to buy it? Or
they developed this box in collaboration with Blackmagic, right? And Blackmagic, the camera producer, right? And so now you can buy or hire a number of iPhones, buy or hire those trigger boxes, put them together in 30 minutes. You only need wires, and start recording.
Yeah, that's amazing. Simple as that.
And Genlock, just to clarify, Genlock is already used. It's not something new that Apple developed. Genlock is already used widely in volumetric capturing. So all cameras in the studios already are Genlocked. And there are many ways how you can Genlock them. So like Genlock is kind of more like a technique rather than a brand, right? So they just built a separate box with Blackmagic compatible with iPhone 17. Right. And
they brought it to the consumer.
It's pretty amazing.
The Apple event just happened today, and how come nobody is talking about how they're stomping on cinema cameras, huh? When you go to Apple's website and look at the iPhone 17 Pro, at the bottom of their website, ProRes RAW, Apple Log 2, and it can do OpenGate. Only cinema cameras do OpenGate. 4K, 120 FPS, Dolby Vision, that is insane, but Genlock and timecode support. I'm talking about this dongle right there. Blackmagic Camera Pro Dock. It connects to the bottom of your camera and it plugs directly into the USB-C on the phone. It has HDMI out. You can go direct to a monitor, an actual camera or cinema monitor from your iPhone. You can have Genlock in and timecode in, and you can also do an audio output. You can literally use your iPhone as a full cinema camera. Genlock is used to sync up several cameras on a film set. In virtual production on The Mandalorian and many other film productions, you would use Genlock to sync up your camera with your LED wall, with your camera tracker and your computer. On regular sets, it's used to sync up several cameras shooting the same thing. So when you bring it into your editing suite, you can sync up several cameras all at once, all by timecode. Most professional cameras don't even have a Genlock or a timecode output. You need to spend thousands of dollars just to get that. Most cameras don't even have an HDMI out. Apple is targeting broadcast and live stream with this sort of device. This is a professional level live streaming device that fits in your pocket. This is straight up the future.
So now, anybody can shoot a volumetric video. Whether that's, I guess that's pretty difficult with lighting scenarios. It depends on what access you have to an environment. I guess indoors would definitely be the best, right? If you're shooting a 4DGS, outdoor with lighting's changing, that kind of makes it complicated. Am I wrong?
We thought so, but on Thursday last week, we processed footage from one of our partners in the US, capturing partners. They just placed 60 or 40 cameras outdoors, really outdoors, under the sky. Even no protection. They were pretty brave that there is not gonna rain. And in absolutely no lighting setup at all, just regular lighting. And they captured a demo for us, just as an experiment. We just wanted to check how it's gonna work. And you cannot find the difference in terms of the quality if they captured indoors. So I was pretty sure originally, the whole team were pretty sure that this lighting really, studio lighting, is really important. But if you find a set of camera parameters to get a good image when you capture it outdoors, the results are pretty amazing. So I would say that capturing is in natural lighting, a regular lighting environment, and also very challenging lighting environments like dark with artistic lighting, from only one angle, red lighting, is completely unlocked. So lighting is not a big deal anymore.
Well, that's great. That's a huge thing for productions. The outdoor thing is really interesting because I'm not a VFX professional, but I imagine if they had the capacity to go out, I think we've mentioned this on a few podcasts, but if you have the capacity to go out and scan, do a 4DGS or a 3DGS LiDAR scan, or volumetric video, and you film this on location, and they have at some point the capacity to alter the lighting scenarios. So if you're out there and the light is changing and you can control that in post, that'd be super useful. That way, you could have infinite lighting control for if you wanted like a sunset scene, but you wanted it at this one location, and you really wanted to film at that location, and you wanted as much time as you can get. That would be a huge technology advantage if that was something that was eventually available.
So I need to mention here, to be completely transparent, that 3DGS are quite good with relighting already. So you can scan environment and later relight it. There are solutions for it. With 4DGS, it is still in the development. So, but in your case, imagine I recently had a movie captured downstairs where I'm based. I live close to Battersea Power Station. So here it was like a movie set. And they were waiting for the whole day for sun to come up, right? So that they can capture. So theoretically, they could capture the 3DGS environment of it without the whole crew on site, just on a regular day when it's really sunny, right? Capture it. And later they could record the characters separately, right? And just compose it together. So the lighting match, right? So, of course it's not something so it's not, I wouldn't say that now you can produce the whole movie 3DGS and 4DGS, but some immersive moments in the movie. Not immersive in a way that you can wear a headset and be a part of the movie. It is as well, but even for regular 2D movie production, there are already quite good applications. One of them, for example, that I like, of course, there are like Matrix type of scenes where you need a crazy camera fly through, and it's super expensive and challenging to make it with regular 2D camera. So you can use splats in order to do it. But another one, which was completely not obvious for me, is that you can scan an environment where you plan to shoot, and you can plan the pre-production much better. Imagine you capture a rehearsal of the scene that you plan to capture on site in a studio, very cheap with just dummy actors. Dummy, I mean like not actual actors, yeah? And you scan the environment like London Bridge. Let's say you plan a shooting on London Bridge. And on pre-production, you compose them and you plan everything. You plan where the lighting is going to stand, where the power supply is going to be, how the actors are going to be positioned. So when you're on site, hired London Bridge, blocked it for 6 hours, you can capture as efficient as you can, simply because you planned everything in advance in 3D. I think it's a big deal as well, and really cuts the cost of content production.
Yeah, that's excellent. That would be very useful. I think that right now a lot of that stuff's kind of just like verbally done, and it's done through just kind of drawing on paper. There are some studios that are kind of getting into like using 3D to kind of plan stuff out. There's a company that kind of makes a software that kind of did something like that. I forget the name. I think cinematography database. I think I forget the name of the actual thing, but you can go in there and like kind of like play stuff around and play with it. But you need to do it on a computer. So I think that's really useful because I did locations logistics, so that would be something that's right up my alley. Like we're shutting that bridge down, and there's a lot of logistical planning and like rules and time restrictions that go along with that. So yeah, the more prepared and ready they are for that, the better. So I think that's definitely a use case for that. And I was thinking about this would be really cool for like, I know we're on the film conversation for film productions. There's a lot of like fan base, right? And there's like Marvel per se, like people are huge fans. They're big followers. They buy all the merch, that's like they're in it, It would be such a cool use case for 4DGS if they, even if it wasn't part of the filming process per se for like those scenes, if they filmed a 4DGS of them filming on set and then later released that as an experience for fans to go walk around the film set, while they were recording. It's got the audio, and they can go stand next to the director and hear him direct, or go stand right next to Robert Downey Jr. while he's doing a scene and like just be there while it was happening. I think that would be like a really useful, I guess, a feature for these big film companies to release with their after the film comes out. You know, that'd be pretty cool.
Can't agree more. Like I'm a fan of Harry Potter, and
Me too.
if the technologies were there back in the days, you could be inside a particular scene, because like when you're already on set, you have actors on set, you have everything there, placing like 40 cameras and recording a particular scene in 4DGS doesn't cost you a lot, but later on you can have this legacy for fans to be part of the selected scenes, right? Not outdoor scenes, just like the most important parts of the movie, right? And I think it's pretty amazing. And we have everything for it, right? So it's already there, right? So Meta already have exclusive contracts with producers who capture movies for them. Like you already have the whole infrastructure, like Meta Store, Apple Vision Pro. So you have everything to make it happen, right? So I think it's a matter of time, and would love to be part of it.
Yeah, that's a big income stream, I imagine, for them as well. Just adding that into their income for the filming process, I think that'd be awesome. I think that that you mentioned Meta. That's a good segue to ask you about hyperlapse. If you're familiar, they kind of just dropped that at Meta Connect, which is their kind of, you can go in and scan. Have you heard of hyperlapse?
Yeah. You mean environments, right? 3D environments.
Yeah, you can go in
like
and scan
generated.
like your own. Yeah, you can go scan your own now with your
with the
3,
headset.
3S. Yeah, with your Meta Quest 3, which is pretty cool. I thought that was pretty neat advancement in space for people to kind of scan their own rooms and such.
Yeah. It's between 3DGS and 4DGS, it seems that there is very little difference between 3 or 4. But the difference in content production, distribution, use cases is just enormous, right? So that's why we, since day zero, focus on 4DGS, because it's much more challenging to produce them. You can have more competitive modes there. So you need to have much more technological advancement in order to progress from 3DGS to 4DGS. I mean that at the moment, we completely are not focusing on 3DGS. We focus on 4DGS, even though, and I think it's more like, because these are actually completely two different technologies. However, they are very good compatible, right? So you can easily scan an environment in 3DGS, scan characters in 4DGS, put them together for any use case, right? And these are two different technologies, and I believe that there are going to be two sets of companies, leaders in 3DGS segment, leaders in 4DGS segment. They will have integration between them, etc. Right? So I think like completely different set of skills, set of technologies are required for these two sound similar industries, but effectively completely different industries.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of an interesting combo, is the pipelines. So like content creation pipelines for those are different, and even though they're kind of in the same realm, they're very, very different from each other. Can you go over like maybe some of like the content creation pipelines with 4DGS and like what that's like? And if like, say someone wanted to use your company, like how would that whole process start if they wanted to work that into their pipeline?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole pipeline consists of 3 steps, consecutive steps. The first one is capturing. As I mentioned, the capturing is much easier than everyone can imagine. So you just need to find the closest volumetric scanning studio, or like we can help you with it, because we have partners with like in the US, UK, Japan, Canada, everywhere, Europe, many countries. So capturing, I think, is more or less solved. You just need to obtain synchronized footage from the cameras. You can go 360, so position cameras outside-in capturing from all the angles. You can do limited viewpoint freedom for more like couch VR experience when you have 15 cameras or 12 cameras capturing positioned very close to one another, like in front of the viewer. If you imagine me sitting on a sofa, right? So in front of me, you have kind of a portable rig. So you just need to obtain this synchronized footage. It's like there is a lot of intuition behind it, like how to do the alignment frame, how to do the synchronization of the cameras using Genlog. That's why I usually recommend, instead of trying to do everything in-house, go to professionals who already have equipment, expertise, everything up and running, and you can capture it on site in a studio. We just need to obtain 2D footage. So it's easily, like, for example, we have partner studios who we work most of the time. We already provide them with an access to our cloud infrastructure. And we have our processing pipeline, which is the core of our product, automated in the cloud. So studios or you as a professional creators just get access and upload footage to the cloud according to our convention of the files. We automatically process it to a volumetric video in our proprietary file format, simply because there is no standard file format. And the whole magic happens actually during the processing. All the optimizations are done during the processing. We do not train each frame separately. We train frames in batches, and the size of the batch really depends on how intense the content is. And like there is quite some intuition and expertise on our side. What's the size of the batch needed to process it? It allows you a few things. First, you can solve temporal flickering. If you process each frame separately, since you train AI models, it's a probability, there is a probability error. So if you process train frames separately, you end up with flickering on the background, on the skin, on the surfaces, etc. So it's not usable. It's a good demo, but not usable. With processing frames all together helps you to solve and make sure that the video is temporally stable. The second one, you do not store the frames separately. You store the trajectory of splats and the deltas between the frames in a very simple way, which allows you to play back this video at any frame rate. So even if you captured it 30 FPS, you can play back at 120 FPS. So you basically have included bullet time, slow motion, everything you want, simply because you can interpolate the frame at any frame rate you want, even though you captured it 30 FPS, right? After the processing, the video can be played back at any frame rate. The third thing, yeah. The third thing is compression. Compression, right? So if you process naive approach, each frame separately, you end up with a video weights 100 gigabytes per minute. That's where we started, basically. That's why our first demo was only 1 second long. And we currently managed to compress it to 1 to 2 gigabytes per minute with our latest compression. Almost lossless. So I see the difference, but I don't think that any user see a difference, right? So it's almost lossless compression. And what's important is that now the music video itself, 5 minutes long music video, can weight less than 10 gigs, right? So it's already something you can download and watch, and so something reasonable that you can store on the device. The second, we are very close to streaming, right? And I hope we get to streaming very soon. Streaming of the files itself, and once it's achieved, it's already close to the YouTube experience. Now you need to download the whole sequence first, and later you start playback. Soon enough, a matter of months, you will be able to press play, and the speed, once we progress a bit more with the compression, the speed of the download of the file will be the same speed you play back on the device. So effectively, you will be able to stream the video, and YouTube kind of achieve this YouTube kind of experience where you one button experience, press play and you watch.
Yeah, that's great. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
So this that opens up a huge door. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, this was about processing, right? So this was the second step of the process. The third step is rendering, right? So for VFX, we have integrations with Unreal. We also can work with Houdini and other video editing toolkits. For XR, we mostly focus on Unity. And we already have Unity plugin, which is effectively a viewer for our proprietary format to render it real time on a standalone device starting from Quest 3. We also support Pico 4 Ultra, about to support Apple Vision Pro. So effectively, it means that you as a creator come to us or yourself find a studio to capture it. You capture footage, you wait one day, you get the files processed back, you take the file, you take our integration, and you, in your third-party application, can distribute these content, right? And it renders real time on a headset, and and we can render like pretty amazing high quality scenes. Like we can go up to 600,000 splats, I think. So which is enough to reconstruct 3-4 people interacting with each other. We have a demo of 6 people band. Pretty amazing, actually. I cannot share it because it's proprietary, like made for a client, but I was super impressed. Like a band of guys playing guitars and drums and singing. 6 people,
drums,
real time on device, 5 to 5 meters, so we can walk around actually the stage, and everything is well reconstructed, super lifelike. So our rendering efficiency is much higher than the industry closest competitor, right?
Yeah.
It enables us to render as many splats as 600,000 on a standalone device. So, and in Unity native applications, but with web GPU, we also plan to support web GPU soon for 2D devices first and for kind of XR second. But it's gonna be pretty soon. It's already a matter of months, not weeks, months. We will be able to unlock the kind of, so no native application will be required, right? So you're just in a headset, you go to a website, you press play,
just run
and if you
browser.
combine streamable file size with no native application required, it's already super scalable. So even today, I think that the content distribution in terms of the rendering, right, is pretty close to be unlocked, but streamable file size is the key to make it fully unlocked, let's say, right? So, but at the same time, we don't wanna lower the bar of quality, because we really believe that we need to keep this, because the whole idea of the content to be super photorealistic and immersive, you don't want to cut half of the splats, reduce the file size just by cutting the fidelity, compromising it. We are really trying to push hard in order to keep the quality levels and push the compression so that this experience is real-time, streamable, native application first, WebXR second.
Yeah, I think that the really impressive, to touch back on the band. So specifically drums, are like a lot of dynamic, fast movements. So being able to capture that and have that not kind of like lose data and it's able to get everything so that it looks realistic is really impressive. And it's pretty wild how far this has gotten already. Since it's kind of a new technology, this isn't many years old.
2 years.
And you guys are, it's like it just happened. So where it's at already is what's so cool about it, because it's gonna come fast. It's not something we have to wait 10 years for, which is kind of like happening across the board with a lot of different emerging technologies right now, from AI to robotics to 4DGS. Pretty cool stuff. And I think that you kind of mentioned, so the streaming part, I think that opens up a big door for like live sports, right? So having 4DGS for live sports, say you're watching, a UFC fight, and you can sit ringside from any part of that fight live, if that's possible. I'm not sure if that's doable live, but that would be really, really cool. Even if there's like a delay, it'd be cool to be able to watch it, the camera kind of like move around in real time, even bullet mode. Like if there's like a big kick or something in post, be kind of cool for like replays. So yeah, that's actually pretty interesting to think about what that opens up for the sports and entertainment industry.
Yeah. Again, to be fully transparent, the streaming that I'm referring to, like previously, is the streaming of already processed file, right? And processing takes some time. We optimize the speed of processing, and during the day we can process like many minutes of footage, right? It's pretty scalable on the cloud because you can train in many GPUs in parallel. So, but still we are not close to the broadcasting. Let's say I usually name streaming of the file on a headset, but you also have kind of this broadcasting when you stream the live event, right?
Yeah.
The challenge to get to kind of broadcasting is not technology to process it, because we are quite close to semi-real-time processing, right? The challenge is engineering, how you handle these terabytes of footage, because when you capture it in RAW on 40 cameras, let's say, UFC already have 20 cameras capturing the event, you need to place 20 more cameras. Okay, you've done it. Now you have terabytes of footage per minute. If you render it, if you process it in the cloud, the bottleneck is the internet connection to upload the footage to the cloud rather than the training time. So you need to bring training on site, build a scalable, like quite a bunch of GPUs synchronized on site, so you can process it on site and stream it already to users. That's why with martial arts, which is effectively like, this is the use case I pitch to investors as our Northern Star, because like it's pretty amazing. You watch an MMA fight, you wear a headset, you're in the octagon with fighters. You're not even sitting on the first row, you're in an octagon with them. Or you have them fighting in your living room, watching it together with friends, and you see your friends in mixed reality, and here are fighters, and I'm super bullish on it, right? But in order to make it happen like live, as you can imagine it in your head, it will take a while and solving mostly engineering rather than technological challenges. That's why I think that the first best foot in the door is making those martial arts masterclasses, because they can be pre-recorded. Scenario is quite clear. You can pre-record it. The same audience, and the like audiences we are like young males, like all recently published MMA games and like boxing games, like Thrill of the Fight 2, everything is like growing nicely. So it's a very relevant audience for MMA, I believe so. And I have a few friends who are passionate about MMA. I pass them a headset with our MMA demo, and they just start jumping around, like trying to avoid the hooks, right? So they really believe it. They really are into it. So I believe that the roadmap with UFC is martial arts training first. Second is highlights, like probably with a 2 hours delay highlight, where you still capture the whole fight in a volumetric way, but you process only the best moments. And after the event, for the next 2 days, they're discussing the particular punch or the particular kick, like the very important moments of it, right? So you don't need to process the whole fight. You only process for highlights, short sequences, and then can be done in the cloud without this huge engineering effort to bring the training on site and invest in the hardware. And later on, if it takes off, you already can do it on site for a proper broadcasting. So on top of regular broadcasting of the same event, you get a volumetric broadcasting of this event that can be upsold. And yeah, I think it's pretty amazing. And the experience of watching the fight will be so much better.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. And I think it's gonna happen faster than we think. And I think you're right. It's gonna happen first with after something happens, then it cuts away to like a replay. That's where we'll see these like 4DGSs first, and then eventually we'll get to this, like you have the capacity to watch it for an extra $10 in 4DGS if you so care to, which is pretty cool. And at this like while you were kind of explaining all of this, the camera arrays and how this all works in the back end, and how you guys crunch it. It's something that I think no one talks about a lot, which is the AI side of Gaussian splatting or radiance fields, and how does that work into this into the workflow post capturing all of this data and filling in the gaps, if you would. And what is that like? What's that like to build or train an LLM for that? If you want to just like maybe dive into that, I think a lot of people would be interested in hearing your experience with that.
To be honest, there is not so much AI, right? So it's kind of an AI segment, but it's not so much AI. So it's not Gen AI, nothing like that. And I'm probably not the best one to deep dive into this topic because I'm CEO rather than CTO. So my partner could we could record a separate 1-hour podcast about it with my partner if needed. But so it's we sometimes we use diffusion models to fill the gaps, but it's not about so we add some extra cameras to the data set. Usually the most challenging part to capture is your neck because or chin. You don't have camera capturing directly from bottom to top. So these areas usually have artifacts. So we already use sometimes, if needed, diffusion models to fill these gaps, right? So you have 40 cameras data set, you add one extra camera generated to fill the gap of the chin. So very, very fine tuning. But eventually the more footage you have available on the market, the more data sets you have, the closer you get to a point where not 40 cameras are required now, but 20 and 20 more could be generated. 10, 3. So this, here, I definitely see long-term strategy. How do you leverage Gen AI in order to augment more and more cameras, reducing the number of actual cameras needed, and as a result, reducing the cost of content production, making it more affordable for semi-professional creators, as a result, scalable. So this is definitely the way to go.
That blows my mind.
I'm not the best guy to deep dive into it. I don't
that's
want to be
okay.
embarrassed.
No. Thank you for being honest and briefing it. I think that just from my understanding of how LLMs and interpolations kind of working so far, it's it's just crazy. It's remarkable that you could have a camera over there and one over there, and then it could fill in the middle. We're in the early stages of this, right? And it's only getting better and it's happening really fast. But that's just to be able to accurately understand the environment and then guess the middle and make it accurate is crazy. And making videos out of that, I've already seen some demos of this, and I've kind of played around with some beta stuff on it. It's crazy. It really is remarkable where we're at with the tech and how this is going to pretty much change everything that we do and aid us in current workflows that we have in ways we've never done before. So yeah, it's so cool to talk to you about 4DGS, which is bleeding edge, and part of that process is AI, and that's another bleeding edge thing that's happening. So this is a really fun combo, I think, and I think people will probably find this really interesting as it's such a new field. And I wanted to say thanks for coming on and telling us. We are getting close to our hour mark here. So if there was anything that you felt that you wanted to cover still, we can jump into that now. If not, if you think we got a good coverage of everything for 4DGS and your companies, I always ask at the end of a podcast what book recommendations or website recommendations, or if there's someone that you follow in the space or even out of the space that you find to be remarkable or useful to the viewers, this would be a good time to plug those in if you'd like to.
Yeah. I would add only two things. I think very important to mention the current. So as you understand, we are focusing on XR as we discussed, but it is clear for us, at least, I hope we are not mistaken, that the wearable mixed reality glasses, wearable glasses, are really around the corner. And probably first good, really proper prototype was just announced on MetaConnect. And unfortunately, I haven't been there to try it because I'm struggling to get my visa to the US. And but we are quite close to the point where the form factor changes from the headset to something that you can wear and walk down the street without being freak. And when I still work in a co-working space, sometimes I wear a headset and I turn on mixed reality mode, of course, and I see people from the street just pointing with a finger on me, right? So with wearable glasses like Ray-Ban, there is not the case anymore. And I think it's already kind of proved, right? So many people wear them, sales are amazing, etc. So I think that the technology we are building, it's one part of the game, right? And it's like, it has its applications for existing form factor of a headset and for the existing products. But I think the game will also change when these wearable glasses that you can wear all the time, and on top of your reality around you, you can see the volumetric videos rendered on top of it and composed accurately with the environment, which is already we do. I think this device, like hardware progress, which I believe is around the corner, is a huge deal, because like if you put it together, you can just imagine. So it's like, it's how it should be done. That's what I'm pretty excited about.
Thank you for bringing that up. It's fascinating to think about how 4DGS and 3DGS are going to interact with AR glasses. I'm a huge AR backer. It's my favorite part of the extended reality technology. It has so many useful applications in life. But one of the big, technological difficulties with AR glasses is the compute. So you have these little glasses and you have just a very limited amount of space to get all of the compute into those that you need to be able to render out 3D elements in your natural world live while you're moving. So that's pinned to that. So having these data light and maybe more versatile 3D models by using 4DGS or 3DGS technology is like a huge deal for the advancement of AR. And like every little bit counts for AR glasses because of the form factor being so limiting. I think maybe phones, if we're getting into like theoretical conversations, maybe phones will turn into like small edge compute centers in our pocket instead of something that we use as our main device all day. It's a pretty cool advancement that may be a very important part of how AR is able to enter the market much sooner than we may have expected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have any book or website, or besides your own website, which is great, by the way? It's a lovely website. You guys did a good job designing that. And I'll plug all that into the podcast notes. I'll put your website, your LinkedIn, any other affiliate links that you'd like to send my way. I'll put it down there if you guys want to check all that out, and as well as maybe any other recommendations you have.
Yeah. I'm still struggling. Sorry, Cody. I'm still struggling with this book recommendation. I remember you gave me this homework to think about it, but I really missed it.
It doesn't need to be a book, and it can be any book. It doesn't have to be a Gaussian splat book. Anything that you find that was like pretty useful for you in your journey as a business owner. Or even if there's just people that you find to be remarkable in your journey that you follow along, that you think are putting out some great stuff, that's as welcome as well.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. I think everyone has a hobby, and my hobby that I don't have, unfortunately, a lot of time to do is ethology, right? Like neurobiology, right? And
okay.
I found so much interesting, not probably helpful, but interesting, in Stanford set of lections by let me actually remember the name of this guy. Sorry about that. Sorry for the delay.
No, you're good. Do your thing.
All right. So I think everyone has a hobby, and it's super important to have one because like building startups is quite an intense process, and you need some way to decompress yourself. And one of mine is neurobiology, and probably one of the it's not a book actually, it's a set of lectures from Stanford University, and the name of the guy is Robert Sapolsky. And I also read a few books of him later on, and I found it so interesting and so fascinating and so, I don't know, it expanded my I don't know, mindset so much, and really brought so much dopamine into my system from knowing something really new and like just crazy interesting. So if you're a bit into it, I really recommend. It's basics, of course, but if you think that you can find neurobiology and behavior neurobiology interesting, I think this is the one to start from. I really enjoyed it so much. It's just the first that came into my mind.
Yeah, that's cool. That's an interesting hobby. I want to say, like, I don't want to read it because I'll just like go into a rabbit hole on that because I find so many things interesting. I end up with like a horde of hobbies, and I think that's a great advice. Yeah, you have to have a hobby. I think it's really important, especially because I think that you get like I think it's really common that you get inspiration from something for what you're doing from something that has nothing to do with it. It just will spark this thought that you are like, oh, that's interesting, and then like maybe leads to something that you never thought. So I think it's really cool to have a diverse set of information and education on stuff that may not pertain to your main thing. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. If you could just shoot that link over to me and I'll plug it into the podcast notes. So if anyone wants to go check that out. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think this was really great. I think we got a lot of good information on 4DGS. That's something that I haven't talked to anybody about yet, and it's so new that I think this will be a very useful episode for people who are finding that to be a fascinating field of study. And maybe they want to build something in themselves. If someone had some like more deep questions, would it be okay if they reached out to you or tried to connect on LinkedIn, or is that the best place, or maybe through your website?
Yeah, please, both. Yeah, so through website, it's better to send any partnerships related things. I know also checking my LinkedIn pretty often, so please feel free to add both links to the description, so people could reach out to us. Happy to help and to share more.
Yeah, and maybe we'll do a follow-up podcast, 5 months from now, just to see where you guys have advanced in the 4DGS space. I'm sure in 5 months' time, there's going to be some interesting things that happen. So maybe we'll set that up for people to look forward to for a follow-up. Georgii, thank you again for coming on. I appreciate your time, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.